Okay, WWE Extreme Rules 2013 has just finished, and I think I'm gonna give my final thoughts on it. Um, the pre-show match was Cody Rhodes versus The Miz. Like pretty much every pre-show match, it was just kind of there. I just gave it 6 out of 10 because it was just basically like a TV match. It was very quick, but it kind of felt rushed because of that. Cody was probably what saved this match from being awful because Miz couldn't get a reaction. Miz seemed incredibly sloppy. And, the only thing that was kind of neat was just a little ending sequence. And most of that I still attribute to freaking Cody Rhodes. But yeah, good TV style match. The Miz wins. 6 out of 10. That's my usual stance on a good TV match. Anyway, on the matches that are actually on the card, first up is Chris Jericho versus Fandango. It had one of those just kind of standard match openings, and it really didn't progress to anything good after that. Fandango wasn't horrible at what he was trying to do, but he just was not a good seller, and his experience in the ring showed. He was very sloppy. He didn't do. The pace was just a little bit erratic. As good as Jericho tries to be, he couldn't bring enough energy and life into this match to really make it good. It wasn't bad, but I've certainly seen better. I gave it 5 out of 10, just completely middle of the road. Not anything good, but not anything totally atrocious. But this is by far the worst showing I've seen of Fandango or Johnny Curtis or whatever you want to call him. After that was a little interview with Sheamus. I know he was trying to be humorous. I know they're trying to pull off Sheamus as sort of like a mischievous sort of guy, but he just comes off like an asshole. I thought it was kind of lame. Next matchup. Normally this would be where I say, all right, slow down the pace so that you can appreciate the faster paces later on. What they gave us was the match of the night. Yeah, I've always argued like, oh, well, sometimes you just need things to be slowed down. No, this was the best match of the night. It was very well paced. It had everything you needed to. Oh, by the way, Chris Jericho won this match against Fandango. Dean Ambrose versus Kofi Kingston for the United States Championship. First of all, it has one of the good things I really like in matches, and that is a style clash. It has, a very fast, very hyper-energetic wrestler in Kofi Kingston versus sort of a more submission, sort of ground and Ruffenhausen sort of style in Dean Ambrose. And it was really cool that that before the match they had the Shield go away from him because it kind of signified, no, we know you can handle this, brother. And the crowd unfortunately did not seem very much behind Kofi Kingston. But you know what? Dean Ambrose made him look good. They both actually had a really even match, and it actually worked really well. The pacing was excellent. Fucking Ambrose pulled out moves I haven't seen in a long time, including Mr. Bob Backlund's crossface chicken wing. And it was a cool move exhibition for Ambrose. Kofi Kingston actually ended up looking really good in this match, but he also made Ambrose look good. It was actually really cool to just see both of them coming back from every little thing and saying, wow, they can come back from that? Wow, they can come back from that? The match, I just thought was really cool. It ended with Dean Ambrose getting hit with a Trouble in Paradise, but he was outside of the ring, so he got knocked down. Kofi Kingston took a while to bring him back into the ring. 1-2 kick out. After Kofi Kingston goes for another Trouble in Paradise, hits the ropes, lands super awkwardly, and then Ambrose hits him with his faceplant DDT. So your winner and your new United States champion, Dean Ambrose, and probably the coolest match of the night. And you know what? I want to see where they're going with this. You know what? I want to see what Dean Ambrose can do. The title cannot really help Kofi Kingston's problem in the card right now. He needs something much more refreshing than simply a title. But yeah, I thought this was a really good match. 8 or 9 out of 10. Admittedly, I said it was really good, but didn't go on for that long. Didn't have truly triumphant classic moments or whatever. And it was just a good match. I'm not trying to undermine it or anything. Next up was Sheamus versus Mark Henry in a strap match. While I do agree, while I will say that their attempts at trying to make Sheamus into a mischievous Troublemaker aren't as charming as they're trying to make them out to be. The beginning where just Sheamus is sort of messing with Mark Henry is actually pretty funny. And what I liked was that they actually did some pretty innovative stuff with the strap. For example, like they actually had Mark Henry trying to tie up Sheamus and then just try to drag him around the ring, which actually looked like it was going to work. But after like the first third where they were actually doing cool things, it just became kind of standard. And this is why I say the match was cool, but the first half definitely outshines the second. But still, I'd say it was a worth watching match. Sheamus wins by dragging around Mark Henry, but then like when Mark Henry's pulling him back, he just bro kicks him, and then Sheamus touches the fourth turnbuckle, and he wins the match. Anyway, next up, and after that was like an AJ Caitlyn segment. Caitlyn has no mic skills. She fucking sucked at trying to like joke around. The crowd groaned every time she tried anything. It was just painfully lame, and I'm assuming this is leading up to a Raw feud or whatever, but yeah, it just wasn't very good. But it segued from AJ talking about Dolph Ziggler on the phone to the next match, which is Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger in a number 1 contenders I Quit match. Now, if you aren't aware of this, Jack Swagger hit Dolph Ziggler, the World Heavyweight Champion at the current moment, with a concussion-hitting kick on SmackDown, and the match had to be changed. Zeb Coulter's opening promo was actually pretty funny. He actually hit on some current events, and it got the crowd pretty hot after they tried to relate it to sort of the people there. The opening moves in the match were just very, very hard hitting stuff, and it was really, really stiff moves that they kept hitting on each other. But the thing was, while I do think this was a good like sort of mindset match where you sort of see, all right, how much punishment can this guy take? It was very good at that, but the problem was it was just a little too slow for that, and they asked do you quit way, way too much. But I thought what kind of made it really cool was like the false ending where Ricardo was thinking about, I might throw in the towel. Ref turns around, goes to ADR, who's in like the ankle lock, and then Zeb Coulter fucking decks Ricardo Rodriguez, and then throws in the towel and walks away. So to the ref, it looked like that Ricardo threw in the towel for ADR. Then they do a replay and say, all right, restart the match. And after a little bit of a interaction, ADR puts Swagger in the arm bar, and like he tries to get out of it. He's like, no, I'm not gonna quit. Tries again, and then he quits. I'm like, oh come on, could do at least one more time before you quit. But yeah, the match was ended a little suddenly, but I thought it was good for what it was. I've seen better I Quit matches, but it was good for what it was. I gave it 7 or 8 out of 10. After this was a Ryback interview. He had good energy, and it displayed the appropriate motivation for what Ryback is supposed to be doing, and I don't have any problem with that. Next matchup was Team Hell No versus Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins of the Shield. I don't know whether this just displays that Dean Ambrose is pretty much the heart of the Shield, but this is kind of the worst of all the Shield matches I've seen. That being said, it was still at least all right. The biggest problem was that there was too much going on, and the match was a little too fast-paced. It was hard to kind of tell what was going on at times. But the crowd seemed really into it. They were really rooting for freaking for Team Hell No. I wasn't that fond of it, and I don't really remember that much of it, though. The ending move where Roman Reigns has Daniel Bryan in a torture rack, and then Seth Rollins hits him with a flying knee. I thought that was a really cool ending, but nothing more than that. It was above average, but it is one of Shield's weaker matches. But as that ending pointed out, your winners and new tag team champions, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins of the Shield. So yeah, we got new tag team champions, which I think should have happened quite some time ago. But it'll be interesting what they can do with the members of the Shield. Anyway, after that, they promoted the post show, and I was like, fuck that. So then I moved on. Next match was Randy Orton versus The Big Show in an Extreme Rules match. This match can be kind of summarized by this. kind of boring, but kind of cool. Like, it was really slow paced, but there were just a bunch of spectacle moments. But they were good spectacle moments. When Big Show tried to hit the Vader bomb, but hit the ladder. I thought that was pretty cool. And then the ending of the match where Orton hit Big Show with everything, but then decided, nah, I'm not gonna end it that way, and hit him with a punt to finish it off. It was kind of cool. So how would I kind of rate that match? With just kind of boring, but kind of cool. Pretty much just halfway through. I'm gonna give it 5 out of 10, just middle of the road. The next matchup, which I thought was gonna be the main event, but no, is Ryback versus John Cena in the last man standing match. I'm not gonna rate this match because I didn't see everything. Because after the beginning, I was like, okay, standard John Cena affair, gets beat down, and then he starts to make his comeback. So I just responded to something my dad told me. All right, you gotta inspect this for me, and we gotta talk. And yeah, then I came back later, and it looked like Cena was starting to make his comeback, but then he got thrown through a table, got up, got thrown through another table, got up, got hit with the shell shock, got up. He hit Ryback with something, he got up, and that sort of thing. The ending sequence was actually kind of cool, and it was actually pretty extreme in comparison to a lot of the other things on the show. And it was an interesting mentality of how far will they need to go. The finish was kind of lame because all that happened was Ryback speared, or I guess carried Cena through the backdrop of the pay-per-view. Sparks flew, they jumped into some kind of steel thing, and double count out, or I think it is. I mean, I didn't hear the ref counting, but it's implied they couldn't finish it. Kind of standard match, but somewhat interesting last third. If I was to rate it based on what I saw, probably just another 6 out of 10, or 6 or 7 out of 10. And the main event, Triple H versus Brock Lesnar in a steel cage match. The thing about Brock Lesnar, and pretty much all of his matches, is that he has very believable attacks. When he hits someone, he makes you think that he's hitting someone. And of course, that's probably because he's not holding back that much. And I did like the interesting idea they had for the beginning of the match, where Lesnar's coming out for his entrance, Triple H just fucking blindsides him. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And of course, he has to hit Paul Heyman in this. And of course, Paul Heyman in the side, interfering in the match. He's always fun because he always just is fun to see get beat up. I thought it was an interesting idea to have Brock Lesnar get an injury very early because to be quite honest, I think Brock Lesnar hurting himself is more believable than anything. So it kind of did make it more believable that, oh, Triple H could win. But it also made the match really slow because Lesnar had to sell the injury the entire time. Everything in this match hit really, really hard. It actually reminded me a lot of the No Way Out match between Undertaker and Kurt Angle, but not as graceful and not as well paced. The ending is kind of an interesting way of them saying, all right, Lesnar's here to stay, because what happened was, after Paul Heyman low-blowed Triple H, Brock Lesnar hit Triple H with a sledgehammer shot that actually is one of the more believable sledgehammer shots I've ever seen. And then he said, no, that's not how I'm going to end the match. He pulled up Triple H and then finished him off with the F5 with the 1-2-3. So then Brock Lesnar has won the match and beat Triple H. I kind of think that Brock Lesnar's style is a little too realistic for what they went for in the match, though. As I said, they played up the injury angle, but the problem was they kind of just made him sound like a crying bitch the entire time, and I just don't think that works for what Brock Lesnar is supposed to be. It was a hard-hitting but a really slow match. I thought it was good. Nothing great. I gave it 7 out of 10. So overall, what would I rate the pay-per-view? Well, see Ambrose versus Kofi Kingston. Sheamus versus Mark Henry was worth the time. Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger was worth the time. And Brock Lesnar versus Triple H is worth the time. But other than that, kind of lame. The pacing was kind of all over the place. And it just goes downhill after the Kofi Kingston Dean Ambrose match. I'm gonna consider this a meh pay-per-view where it just kind of went downhill after a while. I'm gonna say 5 out of 10. 5 or 6 out of 10 is going to be my final rating for this pay-per-view. But that's how I felt. You know, how do you guys feel about this match? Leave your comments down below. This has been Mr. Sanders, and I'll catch you guys next time for I don't want to guess what company, but I'll see you guys then.